Okay, here we are back again with more Dragon Age Inquisition. And we're back at Skyhold after completing Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts and ending the Civil War in Orlais. As usual, I think our next step should probably be to go to the War Room and catch up on the stuff there before we start catching up with our various companions. So let's head to the War Room.
It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
Our alliance with Orlais holds, for the present. They'll send aid on request.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus' followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
Well, let's hope for deserters.
Perhaps they'll rethink following the Darkspawn Magister from the dawn of time. Where is Corypheus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
Well, they'll be hard to miss then.
Good of Corypheus to make it easy to find him. If he's hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we finish him.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one.
Hello, Morgan.
Fortunately, I can assist.
Well, it can't hurt.
I'll ignore that you wandered in without knocking. You have my attention.
What Corypheus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you.
All right. I guess I'm going on a field trip.
This is an Illuvian.
Ooh,
an
boy.
elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corypheus seeks.
Wow, it's something.
It's beautiful, in its way.
I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds. Untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corypheus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Illuvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead?
Okay.
If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
It's pretty incredible.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
Okay, how did you find this?
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
What does that mean?
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I had a safe place to raise my son. But only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean opened from this side?
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Illuvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
You have a key?
I suppose you have such a key.
The key can be many things. Each Illuvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
And Corypheus wants this for himself.
Corypheus wants to come here.
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Illuvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing I've got Morrigan then. Alright, here we are in a room off the garden. Speaking of which, I should probably, like, harvest my plants. It's been a while since I've... Anyway, Morgan is here in the garden now, as is her son, which is cool. So let's have a talk.
You're the Inquisitor.
I am.
Mother never told me the Inquisitor was a mage.
You can sense that? Is that a bad thing?
That's not such a terrible thing, is it?
No, it would be worse. If you couldn't touch magic at all. Like being blind.
Kieran, are you bothering the Inquisitor?
Of course not. Did you see what's on her hand, Mother?
I did see. 'Tis time to return to your studies, little man. My son. Never where you expect him to be, naturally.
That's your son.
I didn't know you had a son.
Why would you? I take great pains to not let my own reputation affect him in any way. To most in the Imperial Court, he's simply a quiet and well-spoken lad, perhaps the heir of some distant family. But he goes where I go. Worry not, Inquisitor. Kieran is a curious boy, but seldom troublesome.
What about his father?
Will his father be joining us as well?
I have raised Kieran on my own for quite some time now, as was my preference from the start.
I bet it was.
So 'tis but the two of us, Inquisitor. Your fortress is a large place, and you will scarce notice our presence.
I'm not too worried about it. You must be very proud.
He seems like a fine young man.
But not the sort one might expect a woman like me to raise.
I
No
didn't
son of
say
mine
that.
would be raised in a marsh, bereft of contact with the outside world. His future will be difficult enough without my adding to his burden. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
You know about Skyhold?
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tarar Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
I think I'm rather fond of it, yeah. It's pretty nice,
I
actually.
like this place. I've made it mine.
The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
Thank you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
And your honesty, to
Some
be
might
honest.
think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may.
I mean, you make a good point. You definitely make a good point. Especially in a world where, yeah, like magic is real and demons are real and all kinds of, esoteric things are real. You gotta think about like what is godhood? Like, what is it that makes a god? Is it just something that is just a being that's incredibly powerful? In which case, Corypheus could theoretically aspire to godhood in that way. But let's see what else Morgan's got for us.
I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the Inquisition?
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up close, what are your impressions?
'Tis remarkable what you have built. I will give you that. Soldiers are camped outside Skyhold in numbers that would give any nation pause. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question to ask. I don't know that Nadia is asking it just yet. Well, first, we gotta defeat him.
We have to defeat him first. Then I'll worry about what's next.
Should that happen, the world will lie at your feet, more or less. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Dorian has also said as much. And I can't disagree with it. Tell me more about you.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah, yes. Whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kakari Wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
You're an apostate.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
Mm-hmm. So you were in the Fifth Blight.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight.
The Blight began in the Kokari Wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated.
She is.
I wish things had gone differently in the end. It had to be, yet. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
So why the Orlesian Court?
The Orlesian Court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
Okay, tell me about Kieran.
Tell me more about your son.
He is a very special young man.
Special in what way?
In every way. At first, Kieran was a means to an end. But as he grew, I never thought of myself as a mother inquisitor. I had no good example to follow. I find myself becoming something I can barely recognize.
Interesting. Seems that Morgan has taken more to motherhood than anyone might have expected her
I'll
to.
leave you to the garden.
Until next time, then.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. Let's go back into the main part of the keep, possibly. I'd like to head back to the war room again.
Worship?
If only because, you know, I'd like to take care of, my current operations and stuff. And then I'll return to talking to my companions. Alrighty, so now I've got a bunch more war table operations to take care of. Let's see what I've got currently running, though. An offer from the Crows. With your knowledge of the Venatori and the Crows' intelligence on Enzo, I tracked down a storehouse just outside the city. I hope you didn't want us to leave any of the Venatori alive. Sadly, Lord Enzo was not present, but he may count his life in days. To show we respect our current arrangement, an interesting trinket from our raid on the Venatori, Gita. New schematic, alright, cool. And Harden Hightown, trouble in Skyhold. Commander, the Kirkwall guards don't particularly appreciate our being here, but they're not willing to turn us away, so I'll call that a small victory. None of the magistrate's neighbors saw anyone entering or leaving his estate the night of his death. There were no footprints and no signs of forced entry. The guards suspected a coterie hit, but the knife found in the magistrate's back was very expensive, not a disposable weapon. Argent thinks this wasn't a professional kill. We're checking into the knife's origin now, Lieutenant Mallory. Okay. What else have I got running? Alright, just some... oh, nice. Throne accessory. Cool. Unmask those across the sea. I had our people remove the downward-pointing triangular symbols from our outposts. They have not made a reappearance, which means little. It's clear someone has an interest in the Inquisition, someone organized, with ties to those across the sea. We've eliminated the Kunari as the most obvious suspects. Nonetheless, knowing who they're not does not tell us who they are, what they're doing, or why. They're clever, we know that, and they have resources, but so do we, and they should learn that they are not to toy with the Inquisition. Liliana. Liana says, if our investigations have any hope of succeeding, we'll have to strike hard and fast before they even know we're looking. A coordinated effort, hitting all the leads we have at once. Cullen says, this is pointless. I won't commit our forces to hunting a shadowy cabal obsessed with little chalk drawings. I say we forget this and focus on Corypheus. I think I'm going to let Liliana follow up on this one. That's fine. Aid those impacted by the Civil War. The Imperial Army will aid the Inquisition's forces against Corypheus, but they must also address lingering issues at home. Weaknesses in the Vale, no doubt heightened due to rifts, have resulted in demons on the road between Valforet and Monsimard. This would demand a call to action at the best of times. Unfortunately, the increased number of travelers on the roads, merchants attempting to restore trade, and displaced civilians returning home after the war, has made the situation worse. The head of the Imperial Army has requested assistance from the Inquisition in subduing this threat. Josephine says, merchants often travel with armed escorts, but civilians require safe shelter. We could petition the Chantry for aid on their behalf. Liliana says, I doubt the army needs the assistance of a full complement of soldiers. My agents can scout the roads and divert travelers away from the worst areas. Cullen says, a chance to solidify our alliance and prove ourselves their equal. A joint venture will also increase our understanding of Imperial Army structure and tactics. I mean, sure, yeah, you do you, buddy.
All right.
Let's see. Dance with the Dowager, the Allemande. Sure, let's try this. So we picked this up because I talked to the Dowager at the Imperial at the ball. So she says, my dear Inquisitor Nadia, there was no time for us to dance in the Winter Palace, but perhaps I might claim that dance you offered now. You may not be familiar with the Allemande. It is the prelude to every great movement in music and in the game. I would be happy to teach you the steps. To begin, the couples form two lines facing one another. South of the Imperial Highway between Verchelles and Monsimard is the Ylen Basin. It is a beautiful place of walnut groves, hollyhocks, and fifth-rate meaderies that recently lost its lord to the Civil War. On the western edge of Ylen, the hopeful young Comte de Poisson stands, lining up his little toy soldiers for a quick and quiet invasion. Surely you would not leave the poor boy without a dance partner. If the Inquisition defends lordless Ylen Basin, it might perhaps be considered your property. Be mindful of the steps, my dear. Cordially, Marquise Montillon. So this is an interesting little political move that she's given us. Potential political move. Josephine says, we can take the Dowager's opportunity in a more subtle way if we directly speak to the Comte. Cullen says, Ylen is a small basin. We can easily send in enough troops to defend it from attack. Yeah, let's just... Josephine's our ambassador here, so I don't see why we can't just let her see what she can make of that little tip-off. All right. Let's just talk to some people.
How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was unmasked, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
I don't blame them.
You don't see the Empress of Orlais almost killed in cold blood every day.
Not so brazenly, no. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
Celine knew.
The Empress realized she was in danger.
She's always in danger. Those loyal to her should have practiced more vigilance. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
It was a viper's nest, yes.
Insular cliques, snide half-truths, everyone sizing up everyone else. It reminded me of home.
I completely understand the feeling, Inquisitor. Let's hope the next ball either of our families holds is quieter than this one, shall we?
Indeed, indeed. I imagine Josephine will have more to say once I have completed her companion mission, which I certainly will do. I will do it very soon. Vivienne.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help.
Okay.
There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
Okay. Well, tell me about the wyvern.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it. They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
But, I'm not much of a hunter, really. I mean...
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help? This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
What is this formula?
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivienne. What exactly is this project you're working on? It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
You won't tell me?
You want me to risk my life to get this thing for you, but you won't tell me what it's for. My dear, it is hardly proper for me to blab the secrets of those who put trust in my discretion. I would do no less for you, after all.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'll help you with it. It's fine.
I'll do what I can. Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success.
Of course. I see no problem with this. There's nothing shady going on here. Let's see. What else have we got? Dorian. My friend.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand.
Something like that.
Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
Yeah, should we do that more often?
That's something you'd like to do more often, then?
Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there.
Why? I'm a mage.
Why not?
Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a ball. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
Uh-huh.
I should go.
Naturally.
I mean, there was a murder at the Winter Palace. There were several, actually, so, like, that seems perfectly in line with Tevinter expectations. Solus, what have you got for me, buddy?
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You've seen this before?
You miss court intrigue? When were you at court?
Slightly disapproves.
Never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
Yeah, I'm sorry about Briala. I'm not sorry about Briala. Yeah, no, I think she is a little sorry about Briala. Like,
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves.
I guess.
I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have in common with then?
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, I believe Briala is doing quite well on their behalf. She is an admirable woman.
Sure?
She's done good work. Hopefully, with our help, she can help them even more.
Yes. However much I identify, or fail to identify, with her people, Briala's efforts have been remarkable. She organized resistance against a powerful enemy, using only her wits and the resources at hand. That demands respect, especially in a world where most would look at her and only see a pair of pointed ears.
Okay. Fair. Varric?
I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Yeah, I don't think I've asked this before. Do you believe I'm the Herald?
Tell me the truth, Varric. Do you actually think I was sent by Andraste?
Shit, this is going to be awkward. I guess I do. Either you're guided by the hand of some higher power, or you have the worst luck.
You believe in Andraste?
I wouldn't have pegged you as an Andrastian.
It's a great story. It's got heroism, love, betrayal, and random musical numbers. What's not to like?
Yeah.
I don't have a nug in this race. It could be bullshit, it could be true. I'll never know. But I like the idea that maybe you could save the world with a song.
I mean, I guess it could be both, right?
Let's be realistic. It could be both.
You've got a point. Look at all the shit that's happened to you. You were saved from the explosion that leveled a mountaintop and fell out of the Fade. You traveled through time, faced down one of the ancient magisters who started the Blights, had a mountain fall on you, and lived. Single-handedly saved the Orlesian Empire.
Okay.
Stopped an army of demons.
Yeah.
One of those things would be impossible. All of them together? That's a miracle.
So I have divine bad luck?
So, on the basis of my extraordinarily bad luck, you think I'm Andraste's herald?
If you know the story of Andraste, you know that bad luck is sort of her thing.
Okay, fair. That's fair. She did have pretty righteously bad luck.
Grand, isn't it? To know the sanctity of our great institutions is intact.
Say what now?
The Empress. She holds the throne, as she should, and buoyed with that glory go my petitions.
Right, your seventh cousin.
Third, my glory is assured.
Nice knowing you. Sort of.
Okay. Let's see if Cassandra's got anything else for me. Oh my, there's a couple of these things over here, isn't there?
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Mother Giselle just always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. About what? What am I supposed to talk to her about? I don't understand. Is she bothering you?
Is there a problem? It seems like she's bothering you.
Mother Giselle is kind, and she means well. So, yes, she was.
I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine.
Yeah?
Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus, everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
I mean, is that even possible? Neither of you are ordained.
How can you and Leliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
Yeah, am I not a candidate?
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a mage, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium.
Jeez.
Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
So refuse if you don't want it.
If you don't want it, then tell them so.
Surely it was never meant to be like this.
I mean...
The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars... This cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
You really feel that way?
I'm surprised to hear you of all people say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
Yeah, so do better.
If you're concerned, then make it better.
Did you know Varric is Andrastian?
He actually just told me.
He blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous.
It is very virtuous.
But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
What would you change?
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
And what of Leliana?
You're not the only candidate. What about Leliana?
Leliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy, but she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Leliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think, and that would be chaos for us all.
Maybe the Chantry should end.
Perhaps the Chantry needs more than just change.
You mean get rid of it entirely? I disagree. Without the Chantry, the faithful would be lost. The Chantry must simply be more responsible in how it leads. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority.
Yep, that would be what I would say about it right now. I think I would like to pay a visit to Cullen. And then in the next episode, I'll visit everybody else.
Ryland's men will monitor the situation.
Yes, sir. We'll begin preparations at once.
In the meantime, we'll send soldiers to... assist with the relief effort.
Am I
will be
distracting
all.
you, Commander?
Sir.
There's always something more, isn't there?
Tired?
Long day?
I shouldn't complain.
You can, it's
This
fine.
war won't last forever. When it started, I hadn't considered much beyond our survival. But things are different now.
What do you mean?
I find myself wondering what will happen after. When this is over, I won't want to move on. Not from you.
Wow.
But I don't know what you... That is, if you...
Cullen. I'm not gonna break up with you.
Cullen, do you need to ask?
I suppose not. I want...
Goodness gracious. Right on the desk.
No. Leave me. Leave me.
Bad dream?
They always are. Without lyrium, they're worse. I didn't mean to worry you.
Oh, honey. I'm here for you.
You can let me worry about you a little.
All right.
It's what I do.
I have never felt anything like this.
Boom.
I love you. You know that, right?
I love you too.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the Cullen romance. It's probably my favorite for a number of reasons. One of them is that I kind of like that it does sort of invert some of the sort of standard heterosexual romance tropes, in the sense that, you know, Cullen sort of in some ways becomes the more vulnerable one in the relationship, and he's the one, you know, he needs sort of some emotional support and et cetera, et cetera. So it's good. It's very emotionally fulfilling, though. I have to admit, all of the romances in Dragon Age Inquisition are some of the best I've ever experienced in a video game. Certainly the best I've seen in a BioWare game. Certainly the best in the Dragon Age franchise, and some of the best in any video game that I've ever played, really, because of the sort of the depth of them and the variation in them, depending on what kinds of tropes you want out of your particular romance, or what kind of flavor you want from your romance. There is pretty much something for everybody in this game, and they're all pretty well written and in depth, and do a lot for the characters. So they're a lot of fun. But yeah, and Cullen's, of course, is one of my favorites. But yeah, I think I'll leave it here. And next time, we'll talk to everybody else. As always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later.